Hi, this is Primetime Wrestling UK episode 20. This week we're going to talk about the NWO show that we went to on Thursday, wasn't it? Yeah. As well as the pay-per-view that's just gone, Survivor Series, but we'll start with the NWO tour first. Now, our show was on Thursday, but the tour started on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, and it quickly became a bit of a nightmare for many people. The organisers, Ministry of Slam Radio, all of a sudden on the day of the first show, and I think it was Glasgow, they decided to change a lot of their terms and conditions. All of a sudden they were charging £20 for a photo, which originally was meant to be £5, they said in the early days. And then they had the nerve to decide to charge for autographs all of a sudden, when that was never in the deal beforehand. And they wouldn't tell anyone prices on the day of that first show until you probably get in and literally right as you're there, sort of thing. And they had the nerve to charge £20, to try and charge £20 per autographs, and basically saying for free autographs £50, which is a complete rip-off. You know, I mean, what's the point of what you're paying the ticket for in the first place? Yeah, and a lot of people got really annoyed about it, and they were backing off at times over it if you really put up a fuss over it. And some people ended up paying for 2 of the autographs and just got the third one for free by just handing it to X-Pac, and he was saying, here, just give it here, I'll sign it. It was basically, because they were getting annoyed with the staff as well, because they were just making up the rules as they were going along during this tour. And then similar again in Manchester, I think it was, whole plant, they'd originally sent out this message before the Manchester one saying that you'd get, if you pay for 2 autographs, you get the third free, I think it was. But then all of a sudden on the night, I think it was pay for 2 and then get a third free, or get 2 free and pay for 1. But then they decided on the day to try and charge for all 3 autographs, and because people put a big fuss up about it and showed them their previous messages, they backed off. But yeah, they were selling the tour shirt on the first night of the show, but then decided throughout the rest of it they didn't have any more left, which was just a complete joke. And then all of a sudden they decided to try and put a sub-story on us, the day before our show I think it was, that Chris Duke had had a heart attack, and that they were making a huge loss out of this, and please buy our shirt and all this rubbish. And then it said that, you know, you get 2 autographs free and you just pay for 1, which no one gave them sympathy for, because they'd lied to us so much during the week, no one knew what to believe. Trust, we don't know for sure that Chris Duke did have a heart attack. No one knows for sure. It's just, you know, we're getting told so many different stories as we go along. So then came the London show on the Thursday. We were there a couple of hours before the doors opened, and we were near the front, and they opened about 20 minutes late, which wasn't too bad considering I heard some of the others, the Manchester one, started really late. But yeah, we got in about 10 to 7, and we went into this little bar area with a big curtain calling off the rest of the room, because they didn't, for some reason they put a curtain across to stop us seeing the rest of it where the stage is. I don't know why, because there's nothing exciting to look at. It's just a load of metal, load of steel chairs with a bloody stage. But yeah, we were caged in like animals. It certainly felt like that. It was really dark in there, so it was like being in a seance. And I don't know, what time do you reckon they eventually decided to do the photos first? And I think
I'd say they come out about 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it was even later. It might have been about 8, half 8. I think it was about half 8 they actually started it in the end, because X-Pac and Scott Hall took their time coming out, because Kevin Nash came out first and did a little speech, which for some reason he kept going on about the war with America have been involved in and all that. I don't know why he kept going into that, but he seemed to have a bee in his bonnet about that. But yeah, it was good that he did a little speech, and they finally started the photo shoot, which took quite a while to do, because there's about 250 odd people there. It wasn't 400 people like some people think. There was no way you could fit that many people in there. But yeah, it was. They were all really nice to us. Got a really cool photo out of it, which we paid 20 quid for. But I don't mind paying 20 quid because the photo quality was good. It was the same situation you'd get at Comic Con, where they would print out straight away for you through their machine, which was good. The only downside was some of the people towards the end had to wait till the end of the show to get their photographs done, because they decided to just cut it off and start the Q&A, which started at, God, it must have been about 9:30 in the end. And the Q&A went on. It was really good, the Q&A, but it went on for ages. It went on to about 11:30, and by that time, you know, we couldn't stay any longer for the autographs, because they were going to do the rest of the photos first before they even started the autographs. And of what I hear, the autographs were just whoever got to the front of that line over by the side of the stage first. You know, it was just a free-for-all. So we had to leave at 11:30 because of getting home. It was just getting late. I don't want to be stuck in Elephant and Castle area at that time of night, because it's not a great area to be in at night. And yeah, we had to leave at 11:30, and when we leaving, half of the audience was actually gone by then, wouldn't they? I was surprised that half of the audience was already gone. There must have been only about 120 left. But yeah, we found out that some people, basically, they started the autographs around just before midnight, I think. And
Yeah, well, we had to go though.
yeah, it was getting ridiculous. And the last person, the poor person in the queue, didn't get seen till 2 in the morning, which God knows how they got home after that. Must have got a bus back, which isn't ideal in that area. There's no way I was going to stay that late for an autograph. I was just, as far as I was concerned, as long as I got the photo, that was the main thing. Yeah, but the main thing was to get the photo and see the Q&A, which we got. So, but a lot of people have been asking for refunds, and I know some of them have got refunds. I've asked Chris for a partial refund because of the fact we never got the autograph part. He said he'd sort it, but that was a couple of days ago. I'm still waiting on that, but I'll give him a week or so before I take it to PayPal. Whether they'll do anything or not is another thing at this stage, but
I think PayPal.
well, PayPal have said no to people in the past, haven't they? So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, it was considering the hassle we had with the organisers and the fact that they had quit the tour before our show started. We got in there to find out by the staff there that they'd walked out on the tour conveniently, you know, taken everything with them and just buggered off and left it to the NWO to run with whatever staff they had there. It was just a complete joke. That company should never run one of those again. All it does is make the others look bad, because the others are going to think companies like PSI and Eros are bad when they're not.
Did you see what Eros put today on their Facebook?
Yeah, you'll get everything with the DDP. That you'll get everything that's promised to you, and no nasty little add-ons on the day you're on, basically. Yeah, because Eros and PSI are very reliable, and I think any wrestler that does this sort of thing in future should use them and not companies like this Ministry Slam, which I don't think anyone will use them again, and I don't think they'll be going for much longer, because they've closed their Facebook pages that everyone was talking on the forums. They've closed all them, so you can't moan about it anymore or talk about it conveniently. But yeah, I can't see that radio company lasting for long, because they'll lose a lot of viewers. Plus, they've all turned against each other, so there's no way they're going to carry on. But yeah, it was a good night overall. Got to meet some of our friends like Chris Hill, Matthew Reed. There was David we got to meet for the first time. Where was he from again?
Jordan.
No, it wasn't Jordan. It was Gibraltar.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep thinking Jordan. It was Gibraltar.
He flew in from Jordan though, didn't he?
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's from Gibraltar, but yeah, we got to meet him for the first time.
He flew in from Jordan, so...
There was Robbie as well, I met for the first time, who I already knew of, but it's the first time we got to meet him. got a really cool photo out of it, and yeah, it was good to have plenty of good company with us to survive the cold weather outside somewhat. But yeah, it was a good. The Q&A was very good. There was some very funny moments. Like someone asked Scott Hall who he would like to fight at WrestleMania, and he went Joe, and the whole place went dead silent. And even X-Pac and Nash looked confused. X-Pac went to him, Joe who? And he went Joe Mama. I was like, oh my god. All that just to crack a joke. Oh Jesus. Because I was thinking, is he talking about Joe Hennig or something?
I thought he meant, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because I was thinking, Joe? Who's Joe?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
But I don't know if you noticed, Scott Hall got a bit frustrated at times because Kevin Nash had a habit of taking over the Q&A.
And you went, are you done, bro?
Yeah, because he pulled this funny face to say, for God's sake, shut up. Because Kevin Nash had this terrible habit of just constantly talking over the others, and basically he was not dragging out his comments as well, wasn't he? It's like, Jesus Christ, mate, just get to the point. Eh?
He's the reason why we missed the autographs, but he dragged it.
Yeah, because it was like the other guy who's running the Q&A thing wanted to start with doing the autographs. He goes, no, we'll do another 3 questions. I was like, Kevin, just bloody get on with it. I don't want to get my autographs. I want to go home. It's late. But it was funny how it started with the guy who ran the... I can't remember what his name was. He was only a young lad who ran the Q&A. He come out and he got a lot of stick. He got booed and everything. And I made Karen laugh because I shouted out to him, eat something. Because he was so skinny, wasn't he? But yeah, he got a lot of stick. And then he did like a little pipe bomb, didn't he? He really had a pop at the company saying he was owed $5,000 and was really getting into it, which by the end of it the crowd actually clapped him. It was quite funny. But I heard they had a few problems at the end. A few of the crowds tried to beat him up afterwards apparently, which is
Yeah, you was telling me that.
it's a bit sad. I mean, even if it's not, I mean, even if he's partly to blame for it, to beat him up for it's a bit extreme. They're all as bad as each other as far as I'm concerned, but to attack someone over it is going a bit too far. But yeah, it was a good experience, even with all the disaster of the organisation. And yeah, we got a few to come up in March. We've got 3 of them, I think. We got DDP to start the month. Hopefully, the tickets go on sale next week. Then we've got Ric Flair in Camden, which won't be a far journey for you, will it? And then we got Bret Hart late March, which is at Leicester Square Theatre, which I'm glad because you know exactly what you're getting when you go there, and you know what you're getting from PSI events because we've done it in the past. You know exactly what you're going to get. There's no hassle with it, and they don't do this with the seats on the first come, just to run to your seats like you're in EasyJet or something like that. Because that's what it is, they open the curtains, we've all got to run to our seats and get whatever the best we can. I've gone running down there like a flipping 5-year-old going into a toy shop. Like, I had to force that curtain. I was like, when she go, 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 we're all just charging down there like we're bloody trying to get a WrestleMania front row or something, isn't it? But yeah, it was a good laugh in the end, even with all the hassle. But yeah, I'm not sure they'll ever do that again. They talked about bringing Hulk Hogan over here, but I'm not sure what agency here could afford to bring all 4 of them over and actually make anything out of it. Which is why that company lost so much money, because they just can't. You can't afford to pay for 3 wrestlers and make a profit with what they're charging. It's just silly. If they'd have stuck a fixed price on everything from the beginning, it would have saved a lot of hassle. No, if it was that hard for them to pay them and make money, maybe they should have... No, I wouldn't mind paying 50 quid for the ticket, or 60. So maybe they should have done that instead of just putting cheap 30 and then adding on at the last minute on you.
Yeah, 50 and everything included.
Yeah, it was... X-Pac told if X-Pac was asked about DX if they ever tried to add to the group, and which apparently they did, and apparently they even came up with this idea of Val Venus in the group, which I thought was bizarre. That wouldn't have worked at all, because I was never a fan of Val Venus, and that just wouldn't have worked. He was one of those they'd beat up, not be in the group. And yeah, Scott.
Also said who they didn't like, who the worst NWO member.
Oh, worst NWO member was Conan, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then didn't Nash say something about Buff Bagwell?
Oh yeah, that was Conan at first, but then he said after the other week it has become Buff Bagwell, wasn't it? It was just people shouted at Virgil, and he was like, "What's with the digs at Virgil?" That was funny, and X-Pac was on his usual form. And Scott Hall was fidgeting a lot because I think he's just had hip surgery, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yes, he was sitting on this blooming stool thing and fidgeting about a lot.
and obviously Hall spoke about the hard time he's gone through and how helpful
DDP.
him, and he got very emotional.
Yeah.
He started crying. It was quite sad.
They also talked about the plane ride from hell, didn't they? For if Brock Lesnar and Mr. Perfect fighting with each other on the plane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Plus the best bit was X-Pac cutting, what's his name again? The ponytail guy? Who? Michael Hayes, yeah. Cutting his ponytail off, which I thought was brilliant, because I think he's a complete idiot. Especially for the way he's treated Rosa. But that was funny, 'cause I wouldn't have wanted to be on that plane, I tell you, flipping hell. Because I heard they nearly had that door open, can you imagine it? They'd all gone, they were all gone, weren't they? Jeez. I think even Stephanie was on that plane at the time as well. It was like, Jesus Christ. Stephanie, my mum, was on there, wasn't she?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did know that, yeah, because he said that, didn't he?
Yeah. So, Jesus.
Yeah.
They had some crazy times.
Did they not talk about who took a dump in the bag?
Oh, they didn't really get into that much, but they were saying about... X-Pac basically said if there was ever a person whose bag he would want to dump in, it would be like Chris Dukes, wouldn't it? Because there was the whole story of... Was it Sable's bag, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, which... I think there was also... Because I remember there was a story once of Randy Orton doing that to Candice Michelle, wasn't there?
Yeah, and what else was there?
There was... Kevin Nash made it obvious. Kevin Nash made it...
Right.
Yeah, Kevin Nash made it off before that. Kevin Nash made it obvious he don't like the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, God, did he?
Whereas, because Scott Hall likes him because of he was always nice to him, but Kevin Nash was like really can't stand the guy. Yeah, but yeah, they were asked who they'd like to fight at WrestleMania, and they basically said if it was the three of them, the Shield, which would be quite a cool match, although not in this current time because Scott Hall I don't think could go anymore, but in their time that would have been a good match. But yeah, that was basically the NWO tour. Now we're going to go on to Survivor Series, which happened this Sunday. Which have you seen it?
I have seen it, but I didn't like it. To be honest with you.
It was very average. I thought it was a couple of good matches, but I was quite disappointed with it. We started off the pre-show, which I actually watched before going to bed on Sunday. It was Miz against Kofi, which decent match, which Miz won by a roll-up, I think it was. Yeah, that's right, it was. Yeah, he got the roll-up in the end. Decent match, but nothing spectacular. Then we started off. What did we start off with? This Survivor Series match, didn't we? The Team Shield against Cody's team, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that.
Which was probably the best match of the night, which Roman Reigns dominated. He took 4 out of the 5 members out of the other team.
Yeah,
Basically, Reigns took out Rey Mysterio to be the sole survivor, which you can see they're going to give him the big old push. I wouldn't mind seeing him take over from Randy Orton as the face of the company, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be good, yeah.
Because I could see them dropping Randy soon, because the way he is with the company, having a go at him and everything, you can see them dropping him.
Yeah.
What else we had? We had the Divas match. Total Divas against AJ's team. It wasn't... Yeah, it was very quick with the eliminations. It wasn't a great match, but it was better than the match they had on Raw, though. But the sole survivors was Natalya and Nicole Bella, which JBL and Michael Cole seemed to forget on the night, or Michael Cole did. He said Natalya was the sole survivor. I'm like, hang on a minute, Nicole's next to her. It's like, wake up. Shows how much attention they pay to the Divas sometime. What else we had? We had John Cena against Alberto Del Rio, which I thought was boring, to be honest. very predictable, which Cena won in the end.
He reversed it, didn't he? And got the attitude adjustment. So
Yeah.
I just knew that was going to happen.
And then we had this was about we had Big E against Kurt Axel, which again was an okay match, but very predictable considering Big E just won the Intercontinental belt. Big E won by pinfall, and then you had the Shield, the Wyatts against Punk and Daniel Bryan, which was a good match, always is. Which Daniel Bryan and Punk won, which I was a little surprised with because I thought the Wyatts might get the first one. But it was a good match. What was the other Survivor Series? Was there how many Survivor Series matches was there? Was there another one?
No.
It was just that one, wasn't it? And we had the main event, which was Randy Orton against Big Show, which was...
Oh, no. You had Ryback, didn't you? Ryback.
Oh, yeah, you had Ryback Challenge, which turned out to be Mark Henry, which I thought it would be. I know there was speculation of Sheamus, but I had the feeling it was probably... They'll wait till Rumble to bring him back.
Yeah.
But Mark Henry won that match, which was pretty obvious when he came out. The main event was Randy Orton against Big Show, which was the crowd were chanting boring for the first 5 minutes. It started to liven up a bit after a while, but Big Show in main events is just not a good idea. Which Randy Orton won in the end because of Triple H coming out distracting Big Show. Randy hit the RKO and then kicked him in the head to get the pin. And then which led to John Cena coming out after the match and just standing in front of each other holding their belt in the air, which turned out on Raw that they're basically going to be fighting each other at TLC to unify both of the world titles.
But can I just say something, Craig?
Go
I
on.
think no one's going to unify the title. I think they're going to switch titles. That's what I think.
Well, I won't be surprised if it ends in a no contest.
Well, I think Cena's going to get Orton's belt and Orton's going to get the other belt. That's what I think.
Yeah, but they're for both belts, so...
Is it for both belts, though?
It's to unify both the titles.
Because someone
So you
said
don't just
that
switch a belt.
that both belts are hanging up.
Yeah, but you have to... You pull them both off to have both. It's not a case of one pulls one pulls the other, and that's it.
Oh, right, okay.
So that'd be a bit dumb, wouldn't it?
Okay, someone told me.
It's like with the tag belts, you take one down and that's it, you've won.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, well then probably, I don't know then, I think if I'd had to pick someone, I'd put Orton.
Yeah, I think he probably will. If someone does win, it'll either that or end in a non-contest or something stupid like that. But I'd rather they had the match now than at WrestleMania, because no one wants to see that match at WrestleMania at all. But yeah, that was it for Survivor Series. Nothing spectacular, a couple of good matches, but very average in general. The next pay-per-view is TLC in 3 weeks' time, which is the last pay-per-view of the year, before moving on to the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania. Yeah, we got our WrestleMania tickets the other week, didn't we? About 3 weeks back now.
Yeah.
Got riser seats for, got really good seats for it.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Obviously, while we're on here, obviously next year, what would you like to see happen next year in the wrestling industry? Tell me.
Yeah, we'll post it on the comments below the video on YouTube.
Definitely, just comment and tell. Obviously, one of my ones, I'd like to see another Hulkamania moment. Definitely.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'd love to see the Warrior back, maybe in the Hall of Fame or something.
But when we're at WrestleMania, I'm going to try and do a few interviews with some of our friends while we're there. Should be quite good to post on here. Yeah, I don't know when Raw tickets for Night After WrestleMania a couple of years ago used to be early December, but because of last year it was in January, just before Hall of Fame. So I'm not sure when they'll go on sale. It'll either be early December or it'll be in early New Year.
Yeah.
I just don't know with them now because it's changed that. It used to be around the 4th of December, but because of last year I'm not sure now.
Okay, obviously, you know, I'm
Just have to
going
keep
away,
an
so
eye out.
just have to sort that out.
Oh yeah, I'll just keep an eye out, always do. Yeah, that's basically it for this episode. We'll be back in probably 2 to 3 weeks to talk about the next pay-per-view, TLC. But yeah, that was basically spoke about the NWO show and Survivor Series. Anyway, like if you have any comments about the show or anything, just post it below the YouTube link. Anyway, speak to you soon. Bye.
Later.